maybe they could see into the ultraviolet, or those other infrared and stuff, because a lot of those cameras are infrared triggered. And so if you can see into that, then you could see those cameras would glow to you, you know.
Yeah.
That's a very good possibility. You know, we only have a very narrow vision. The same thing with our hearing and everything, right? Compared to the animal kingdom.
In the paranormal war room, the legends arise. We're diving deep down where the truth never lies. Diving deep down where the truth never lies. Unravel the mysteries, let the stories unfold. These tales are daring and bold.
I am joined tonight by the guys from Paranormal 411. Guys, why don't you introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about yourself tonight, man?
Jason?
Well, I'm Jason Scott. Been into the paranormal for
Since 2012 at least.
2012, yeah. What's that, 13 years?
Yeah.
It all started with David pulling me into his house for an investigation, and I ain't never been right since. So
I don't think any of us are right to talk about this stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I actually didn't go back to his house for 2 weeks because I was scared to death.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but we started out as just conspiracy / about anything podcast. Our name was Project Dark Corona, and then Corona hit in 2020, and we changed the name. We didn't want everybody thinking we was Dark.
That's all we were talking about, you know. It was just Corona, you know. So it was like,
that's all anybody was talking about back in those days, man. I was so sick of even hearing about that stuff.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah, it's a pain.
Yeah, no doubt.
I'm David, and for me, it's been a lifelong thing. So I started seeing ghosts at the age of 3.
Oh, really?
And I've seen them my whole life. And so, by the time I was 5, they didn't really scare me anymore, because I'd wake up in the middle of the night and there'd be people standing in my bedroom.
No way.
Yeah, that only I could see, but they just looked like regular people. So that's what scared me. It wasn't that I thought I saw ghosts. It was strange people were standing in my bedroom. And so I'd go tearing off and screaming and telling my mom that there's, 3 or 4 strange people standing in my bedroom looking at me while I was sleeping. And
wow.
and so that's kind of how it started for me, it's just been a lifelong thing.
Yeah, but that fascinates me because the house I live in now, the house we're sitting in right now, we moved in here about 6 years ago, and it was like something you would see on the TV, dude. It's serious. But some of the stuff we went through here, it was crazy. So I can definitely relate to you when it comes to stuff like that. But I guess if you're seeing people, it doesn't really matter where you're living at or anything like that. It's you, right?
It's just me. Yes. Yeah. We went to Chickamauga. What was it, about a year or so ago?
A couple of years ago.
Yeah. And I seen a Confederate soldier there. He was waving at me.
Wow.
Or at least I saw him waving. I say he was waving at me, but he was looking my direction and waving. So he took his hat off and actually was like doing this.
Was this in the daytime or nighttime?
Daytime. Yeah.
Wow.
We were just doing the actual tour around and yeah, it was a crazy place. I felt from the minute we got there, I felt like someone set a 100-pound sack of concrete on my shoulders, and felt sick
Wow.
all the way up until when we left. When we left, everything just kind of went away.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
I was kind of a skeptic, about it all until that day at David's house. And then it's been getting better. I've been having feelings and stuff, but
The more you get into it, the more you'll.
I think my mind's opening up more, that sixth sense. But usually most of the stuff that I've seen was just through equipment that we have.
Well, what is it about David's house that got you uneasy and stuff like that?
Just the thought of somebody. Okay, let me tell you the story.
Yeah, let's
Now,
hear that
this is not
story.
the house that I currently have where we're at right now. It was a previous house that I owned.
Okay.
But yeah, let him tell you the story because it's fun. It's funnier with him telling you.
Okay.
So me and David worked together, and he come to work one day and said, "Hey, won't you come over? I've been seeing this little girl. Um, she's been playing around with the stereo and stuff, and all kinds of stuff." He's actually seen the little girl,
Yeah.
but I come over one. This is during the day now. I come over and I've downloaded a bunch of apps on my phone for EVP, EMF. So I turned the EMF and the EVP recorder on. It was like a built-in the same app. And every time I sat down in his chair, and every time I go to my knee with the phone, it would just start going crazy, lighting up red. I'd take it back off, and it'd quit. Go back down to my knee, do it again. And all this time we're recording the EVPs, and I just asked it. I said, "Are you sitting on my lap?" And so we went on and on and on. Then when we got done, we sat out on the porch and was listening to the EVPs. And after I said, "Are you sitting on my lap?" you hear this little girl go, "Yes."
No
Uh,
way.
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Now you guys
Yeah.
heard
That
that
wasn't
with your
even,
ears and not a recorder, right?
that was
Wow.
with the recorder.
with the
Yeah.
Oh,
recorder.
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Um, but that wasn't even the best one. Like when he finally came back 2 weeks later, we did another investigation and of the middle bedroom because that's where I saw the little girl come out of that middle bedroom into a hallway. It was an Easter night, about 9 or 10 o'clock, and I caught movement out of the corner of my eye because where my chair sat to watch TV was really close to that hallway. So I saw something kind of move, and I was like, "What's that?" So I look, and it's this little girl about maybe 9, 10 years old, had this really big, pretty green Easter dress on. And
Wow.
she just turned and looked at me, and I looked at her, and I just kinda turned back around and watched TV, and I was like, "Wait a second." Of course,
Yeah,
she was
yeah.
gone by then. So we wanted to do an EVP session in there, and, what was hilarious about it and we do some paranormal talks, we've done 2 at the public library in Knoxville, and then the last one we did was in October at the, for UT.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, and so, and we showed them, or we let them listen to that EVP that I'm about to talk about, and what's
Mhm.
funny is that my son got sick, so he was home from school that day, and so it was Jason, myself, and my son, and so you hear Jason, and he goes, "Why don't you scratch him, the one with the glasses on?" And what happened to the audio?
I don't know.
Oh,
It got better, whatever it was.
um, anyway, the one with the glasses on, and then when we listened back at it, what was funny is that when Jason said that, it answered him both times. So it says, "Why don't you scratch him?" You hear it say, "Who?"
Really?
And then when he says, "The one with the glasses on," you hear it say, "Little boy?"
Yeah.
Because he was talking about
Wow.
my son.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
And
crazy, man.
what got me was I was having a conversation with this thing, and I didn't even
Didn't even know
know
it.
it.
Yeah.
It was wild.
We should have sent some of these to you because 'cause we've got them.
Yeah, yeah, I'd like to hear that. I've actually got an EVP I took myself. It was probably Lord, it was probably 20 years ago now, but you guys know anything about Etowah or anything like that?
Mhm.
Because that's what
Been
drew
through
me to
there.
you guys when I first started listening to you. You guys were local. I mean, I don't know where you
Yeah.
live at, but I live in Sweetwater,
Loudon.
so I know we're in the same vicinity around here,
Yeah, yeah, we
And
live in Loudon.
okay, okay, that's just right up the road from me then.
Yeah.
But I was in a graveyard down here in Etowah, just trying to be a ghost hunter like you see on TV and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But I was walking around. I didn't have a recorder or anything like that. I was carrying a laptop with me and had the record button pushed on the laptop. And this EVP, and I'll email it to you guys after the show here. But I said, well, this is your last chance to show me something because it's about 1 o'clock in the morning. I was gonna get the car and go home. And dude, plain as day, you hear a little girl say, "Where's my mommy?" I mean,
Oh,
plain as day. I don't know how they rate EVPs, but I would consider this like a grade A
Class A.
EVP.
Yeah.
So, of course, I didn't hear it at the time. It was late at night. But when I got back home and started listening to the recording, I heard it. I went back the next day, and the exact spot where I was standing and got the EVP, I was standing next to an 8-year-old girl's tombstone.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
I didn't know that at the time because it was dark, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy. And then, of course, that night, of course, I got real sick. My son came out of the room. He said, "I just seen my youngest daughter, Breely. She's running through the house." And I'm like, "No, Breely's in there in the bed." So I'm pretty sure I brought the little girl home with me that night.
Mhm. Yeah.
So,
Man.
Have you learned cleansing techniques?
I haven't, because the little girl's name on there was Debbie Derrick, and of course my last name's Derrick too, so I'm pretty sure, coming from a small town like I do, she's probably kin to me somehow. But
Yeah.
no, my family just took her on as, if we seen something, "Oh, that's Debbie," she's just
Debbie,
hanging
yeah.
out. She may be here now, I don't, but that was is an insane thing. But you guys do investigations and stuff like that. Can you tell me one investigation you've done that just was probably your scariest one you've done, one that made you the most uneasy or something like that?
Jason?
For me, it has to be the one we just did.
Really?
The one over in Coogee Booger?
Last week, we went to a place called, it's been called Coogee Booger. Well, actually, they call it Coochie Booger.
Yeah.
Oh,
But we're
dang.
starting to call it Coogee
Coogee
Booger.
They
Booger.
won't
Yeah.
stay
we
away
didn't
from
wanna-
that place, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Right.
That's it.
We didn't want to say that or spell that out, and so we changed it to Coogee Booger.
Right.
And so it's this place that we used to go to when we were in high school. Everybody partied there, and
Mhm.
there's been so many stories of that place, especially about Bigfoot. Um,
Supposed to be a little girl.
yeah, it's supposed to be a little girl that had drowned in this spring house, is what it is, really.
Yeah.
That's there. So we went to investigate the spring house last week, right?
Last Thursday.
And we took the spirit portal, we took the SLS, we took the EVP, we took quite a few things. But I was sitting there recording David with my back to the woods, and this was going on all night. These little rocks, or I don't know what it was had been throwing at us. Something had been throwing things at us.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, the one that got me, it went right by my head. I mean, I heard it whiz by and it hit the stone wall and bounced off. And I jumped up and told David I wasn't sitting there with my back to them woods anymore.
I
But
traded places with you.
Yeah,
it
no
was
doubt.
it was pretty intense. A lot of times when we do an investigation, it's not really malicious or anything.
Yeah. You
But
rarely have
but
anything
that
bad
was
happen.
kind of aggressive, and I even caught on the camera a white mist went across the camera, and then about a second later, it come back, and it was right in front of my face.
Wow. Now I wonder,
It
was it throwing rocks or something like? Is this a place where it could have been something like Bigfoot or something like that, or is this?
There's a lot of Bigfoot sightings come from that place. Yeah.
Wow.
Ton
Okay.
of them.
and it's right over here in Monroe County too, right off 72.
Really? That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, we
I
need to take
listened to
you
one of
there
you
sometime.
guys' show, and you had a guest on. I'm sorry, I don't remember his name, but he was telling you about some of his hunting dogs they go get their dogs, and he said one of them
Steven.
had its head crushed.
Yes.
Steven. Yep.
And I tell you what, that is the show I listened to, and I was like, I want to talk to these guys, man. Uh,
Yeah.
Run me down a little bit what was going on there, if you remember, man, because I'm
So
very curious about Bigfoot and stuff like that, because I don't know, it just seems like to be like there's a lot of stuff going on around here. So yeah,
yes, we have a lot of activity.
if you guys remember
Um,
anything like that, share it with us, man, because that was one of the stories that really stood out to me as I was listening to that.
Steven, Arcane Discoveries, he if I'm not mistaken, what they were doing is they was going out bear hunting.
Yeah, I think so.
And so they had released the dogs, and two of the dogs out of all the dogs that they had released were still young. They were still learning to hunt, and they all had tracking collars on, and they could tell that most of the dogs got the scent and was chasing after the bear. Two of them had caught some other scent or something and had wandered from the rest of the pack. And there was, they were sitting there looking at it on their, on their device and was like, well, we'll have to go pick those two up.
Yeah.
Well, one of those two had circled back around and went back and finally got with the pack. Um, they had treed the bear, they had shot the bear, and so they'd got all the dogs, put them all back up, but that one dog was still missing. So they took its tracking collar and followed to where it was supposed to be. And they said that what he said is that the only reason he saw it was because part of the antenna was sticking up out of leaves. And he
Yeah.
says when he brushed the leaves off of it, it was like something just did that and just smashed his head in. And then he says what he feels like is like it felt bad for doing it because it covered it up in leaves.
Yeah. Or,
So the
yeah.
dog got covered up completely in leaves.
That shows intelligence in my mind. But
Yeah.
what stood out to me about that story is I don't know of anything else in the woods that could squeeze something's head and,
Oh.
pop it, other than something that had two arms like a human being, maybe something like that.
Yes. Yeah, because a bear's gonna swipe or
Yeah.
something like that, but they're not gonna just pop,
Yeah,
pop
that's
that head like that. That's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. You guys have heard the theories about Bigfoot being interdimensional and stuff like that. What's your thoughts on that?
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know, we believe a lot of the Native Americans talk about how they walked in both worlds.
Right.
They were not just flesh and blood, but they also walked in the spirit world. And I think that that actually has a lot to do. I mean, how else do you get a trackway that'll walk into a middle of a field and then just disappear?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, there's just not another single track there. I mean, you have tons of eyewitness reports of these things just stepping out of almost nothing and then going and then coming and then going right back away again. It goes beyond just simple camouflage, I think, sometimes.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
want to add that a lot of Bigfoot investigators, maybe let's say 5 years ago, they wouldn't believe it for nothing. It's a flesh and blood. It's a monkey.
Yeah,
But now you see them coming over to the dark side a little bit,
that's it.
and they're using more. They're using more paranormal equipment
Yeah,
in their Bigfoot investigations.
Right.
Yeah.
So something is definitely up with Bigfoot and the paranormal.
Well, the whole story you get from the naysayers is with all the trail cams and stuff like that. Why hasn't one ever been captured on camera or anything like that? Well, why do you think that is? Why do you think we've never caught one on trail cam or something like that?
maybe they could see into the ultraviolet, or those other
Infrared.
infrared and stuff, because a lot of those cameras are infrared triggered. And so if you can see into that, then you could see those cameras would glow to you.
Yeah.
That's a very good possibility. We only have a very narrow vision, the same thing with our hearing and everything, right? Compared to the animal kingdom, we're deaf and dumb and blind, right? When it comes
Compared
to
to
all
them,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, compared to
Yeah.
them, we are. And so, it's not far out of the realm. You don't even have to think that they're interdimensional beings to think that they would be able to have that capability.
Right. Right.
And I
I,
think that that's one of the main reasons.
I think that, we've caught Bigfoot on film, but people don't want to
Believe it.
believe it. I mean, we've even got a video that was given to us that David just posted it up yesterday
Yes.
of what we think is a Bigfoot,
And it was filmed in
Monroe
Monroe
County.
County. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to get
Dang.
him to give me the exact location it was filmed, but he even got prints. But the it was a good film. It was shaky and a little blurry, but
It's done on a cell phone too. So
but it was walking down through the tree line. And all of a sudden, it went down on all fours and just took off.
Just took off. Phew.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a
So
bullet.
I think we've caught it on camera. People just don't want to acknowledge it.
Right.
Just
Naysayers
like
will
the
always
Gimlin.
be naysayers. That's what I say. You know.
Yeah,
That's fact.
just like the Patterson Gimlin film. Everybody and their mama says, "Oh, it's faked," but they've done so many tests on it that
Yeah, they
it's
can't prove that.
they can't prove it.
Yeah. You guys go on all these investigations and stuff like that. Have you ever been on one on an investigation that just turned out to be a hoax or anything, or what is the one red flag that would get thrown up and you'd say, nah, this is fake or something like that?
Oh man. We've not been on any that we feel that has been faked or anything, but I'll tell you, if we've had places that's asked us to come, but we're so close. um, they're also a haunted house, I'll say.
Right.
And they've got trigger objects and all kinds of other stuff.
Okay.
And we know people who was in this place way before these people bought it and created it into what it is today. And, we trust him implicitly. Eddie and Susan from Legends and Lore Pizzeria there in
Oh yeah, I eat
Madisonville.
there all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been ghost hunting for a long time.
We've actually went with him
Yeah.
on some ghost hunts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went with him and we've invited him to some of ours. So, and he says he never once caught nothing out of all the years that they used to go there. Nothing.
Really?
And so, yeah, so we never did it.
Wow. I watched one of you guys' episodes. It was something about I don't even know if I can say this word right, so forgive me, malevolent spirits or something like that.
Malevolent.
Malevolent, yeah. Golly bum.
Yes.
I'm from Inglewood, sorry.
That's all right.
But
Hey, we're from Loudon now.
That's right.
Can you walk me through a situation you guys have had maybe that was dealing with a dark entity or something like that?
We've got
Oh,
one.
wow.
Yeah.
We've
Man.
got one.
David can tell this story
Yeah.
backwards with his eyes closed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
We've got
Let's hear
one.
It's creepy.
Matter of fact, when you was talking a minute ago about what was one that was probably the scariest, because a lot of this stuff doesn't scare me.
Right.
But this one is
Well,
one
if you're seeing
that,
dead people all the time, it probably doesn't scare you.
yeah, it's like, hey, there's one standing right there,
Yeah.
But this one right here was something that it was different. Kind of a family friend. Uh, their son hung out with my son. We lived catty corner across the street from them. We were, decently good neighbors with these people, and their daughter for a long time had this spirit, is what she called it, that had always told her to hurt her sister, was telling her to hurt her sister all the time. And so they was asking us to come in and, see what we could find. So Jason couldn't come that first day. So I went in and done a preliminary investigation. And I think I found an object that this thing was attached to. And
See, that's why I don't go antiquing, man. That right there is
Yep.
why I don't go to
That's absolutely.
You don't ever want to bring something in your house like that.
That's right. And you very well can.
Absolutely.
Easily. And so I asked the little girl to draw a picture, if she could draw a picture of it for me. So I don't know if you're familiar with the black-eyed children.
I am.
So this thing looked like a little girl, solid black eyes. Her mouth was open, like really, really wide, and there was rows upon rows on the top and the bottom of like these shark teeth, like razor sharp teeth.
Golly,
And she said this is the thing that comes to her and tells her to hurt her sister all the time.
Man.
And so talking with the mother, I asked about this object and said, was there a time that she did not have this going on, this thing coming to her, telling her this stuff? And she said, yeah, it was about a 3-month period. I said, well, was this piece of furniture not in her room or in this house. And she said, yeah, actually, it was in storage at that time. We were moving. And so, yeah, that piece of furniture was not here. And I said, okay, then it's, in my mind, I'm going, this is pretty possible that this is what I think it is. So I take the picture, take it home with me. Again, that's just across the street. And I'm going to go talk to Jason because I had it set up to where the next day he was going to come in and do his investigation separate from mine. So then that way we could see if what we both get corroborates with each other. And but I take that picture because at the time we worked together, so I was going to show him what she drew
Right.
this picture. So I took it in the house, set it on top of the microwave, went and got ready for work, came back out, and the picture was gone. It was not there.
Wow.
And I asked my wife, I was like, do you know where that picture went? And she's like, no, I ain't touching that thing.
No.
And so I start looking for this picture and open up the cabinets, and 2 cabinets up above, sitting on some plates, that picture was sitting there.
Golly
How it
darn.
got there, I don't know. But
No doubt.
I know no one else in the house touched it.
You
So
got that right. Well, let me ask you something. As paranormal investigators, what do you do in a situation like that where you've got a little kid telling you that somebody's telling them to hurt their sibling or something like that? What do you do?
so first we got to see a couple of things because psychosis is possible.
Mm-hmm.
It's rare though for younger than teens to get any type of psychosis, psychological problems or issues going on. It's rare, but it isn't impossible,
Right.
so that's something that you always have to keep in the back of your mind. Is this possible, plausible? The only thing is that the mother talked about it and her 2 siblings talked about it. So, it gave it a lot more weight that is what was going on,
Right.
As far as getting rid of it, I was going to take that piece of furniture to my house.
Wow. You braver
I was
than
going to take
me.
it home. Yeah, it was going to be mine.
Yeah.
And, but I told it before I left to go talk to Jason and go to work and all that stuff. I told it that I was going to get rid of it. And so talked to Jason, showed him the picture, and came home that night, went to bed. Now, right outside my bedroom, the smoke alarm.
Right.
But now this is wired to electricity, right? So it's not a battery operated one. It's actually wired into the house.
Yeah.
3:00 in the morning, right? Which is witching hour, right?
Mhm.
3:00 in the morning, that thing starts just beep, 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 beep. So I jump up out of bed, open up the door and step into the hallway. And as soon as I step into the hallway, it shuts off.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh, you're here. I said, I didn't invite you here. I didn't tell you you'd come into my home. I said, you have to leave. I said, but I'm still going to get rid of you tomorrow. And so I closed my door and went back to sleep. And
Does that usually work? If you tell them, you're not allowed to be here, you shouldn't have followed me. Does that usually work?
yes, one thing that Jason and I like to tell everybody is its intention.
Right.
It's not about what you say. It's about your intention. And if you believe whatever it is that you say, so you could, if you cite scripture, just whatever it is, it's that intention that's behind it that gives it that power, right? And so make sure that you have intention and that intention is that this thing is not allowed here. And it'll go. I promise you, it will go. It will not be there no more.
Interesting.
And the next day, Jason went to go over there. They stopped answering their phone calls. They stopped answering their door. They would not let us back in their house.
Wow.
Yeah.
So to your knowledge, it might still be going on or something like that, right?
Absolutely.
Wow, that's
Absolutely.
crazy.
Yeah.
I listened to one of you guys' show and you was talking about, and I kind of agree the same way that not everything's a demon, something like that. When you got TV
Yeah.
shows, everybody's getting possessed every 5 minutes and stuff like that.
Yes. Yes.
Kind of what's your take on that for somebody that hasn't listened to that show or anything like that? What's your take on that?
Well, we think that maybe 90% is not malevolent, is not a demon. I mean, there are bad spirits, but not everything's a demon.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, it's what you make it, really. Like David was talking about intentions. You
yeah,
can actually cast your intentions on a place. If that intention's bad, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I mean, but I do believe in demons or bad spirits, spirits that's not walked this earth in human form, but, 90% of the time, it's not that.
Yeah, it's pretty rare, I think, for anything like that to happen. We had a guy on the show that was a psychiatrist for the bishop, or actually for the Vatican period,
okay,
and he said that 2% of what they ever investigate has anything to do with the demon. Because the majority of it is not. It's something else, or it's psychosis, but it is not a demon. And so, you know, I think that what he's saying is pretty factual since he's done it as a 30-year career,
yeah,
trying to make sure people are sane before, an exorcist comes over to someone's house and tries to exorcise a demon out of them.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that because I interviewed a guy that he's a friend of mine. He operates Star Mountain Paranormal, and
Mhm.
I guess he's a self-proclaimed demonologist or something like that. And he kind of
Right.
tells me that ghost or whatever you want to call them don't exist. He said everything is a demon, and I told him, I said, I just don't know if I agree with that. I just
Right.
really don't.
Right. We can agree to
If you
disagree.
have a
Yeah,
if you have a human that was mean on this earth, bad person, what are they gonna act like in death?
Right.
They're
yeah,
gonna act bad.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
More than likely, if they were a butthole in life, then they're gonna be that in death.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. I can agree with
Um,
that,
but,
but
I think also, like Jason was saying about the intentions, there's been studies actually shown where they've taken a place that they knew wasn't haunted, it had no haunting or anything there. They set intentions on the place for a week or 2 before they went there, and they said, "Hey, it's gonna be a woman in the 1800s, her son died of whatever." I mean, they set this whole thing up, and then they just focused on that for 2 weeks, that this is what was gonna happen. When they went there, that's exactly what they got.
really,
Uh,
like you
every bit of
manifested
it.
or something like that,
They
right?
manifested it just by their intentions, absolutely. So, that's why when a lot of these people are like, "Hey, do you go to any of these really big places like, whatever?" We're like, "No, we wanna go, don't get us wrong."
Right.
But does it interest us as much? No, because the intentions that have been set on those places by the thousands of people that's gone there, by the thousands of people who's put out videos of saying, "Man, I saw a demon here," or
Yeah.
"A demon scratched me here," and all this other stuff. Well, those are gonna manifest things there because so much attention has been brought to it, and people are thinking about, "Man, this is there, this is there."
The mind is powerful.
And so
Took the words right out of my mouth. That's the next thing I was gonna say. The Lord only knows the things we could do with our mind if we just knew how to
right,
use it.
Yep.
that's absolutely right.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. Yeah.
You
And
know,
and it's been done. So,
yeah, I don't know if you guys know much about like astral projection and stuff like that, but
mhm,
as far fetched as it sounds, I've got an experience that's for another time, but man, I don't know. Maybe it's real. I know one thing: our government don't dump a lot of money into something. Some of the programs they've done, unless they might be a little something to it.
right.
Now, when
Yeah.
you talk about astral projection, does that include a OBE, out of body experience? Because I've had that
I'd say it's the
one
same
time.
thing. I'd say basically the
Yeah,
same thing.
it is real, and I don't want to do it again.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Woo.
That what you was talking about these bigger places. That leads me into my next question, guys. Let's say Paranormal 411 was given an unlimited budget, right? So what's the first place you're going to go to? If money's not an object, traveling's not an object, where do you guys want to go? What's your number one place you want to go?
That's hard
It is.
because we enjoy doing residential stuff, and helping people. But I think, man, there's so many great places to go, on this planet. I think I would like to start here in the state of Tennessee, though.
Yeah. There's quite a few haunted places here, but there's one that sticks out in my mind. I think it's in Kentucky. Is it Trans Allegheny?
Lunatic Asylum.
Lunatic
Yeah,
Asylum?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Is
I'd
that in
love to go there.
Kentucky?
I think, I'm not sure.
Or is that in Virginia?
Might be Virginia.
I'm not sure. I know in Kentucky is that's the Waverly Hills. That's one of the
Waverly
Waverly
Hills.
Hills.
Sanatorium.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
two I'd like to go to.
Yeah.
Yeah, those two would be right up my alley.
Obviously, I'd like to go somewhere over in Europe and visit some of those real ancient places, but Waverly Hills would be one of the places I'd like to hit around here.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. Me and the wife plan on going overseas sometime, and I'll probably take some equipment with me if I can.
oh, absolutely,
see
you
if I
got
get
to,
anything.
man.
Yeah.
They make fun of us over there because we act like we've got old buildings here. They've got stuff,
Yes.
that's 10 times as old as some of our stuff we've got
Yes.
here. There's no telling
Yeah,
what
we're
all's
wanting to go
happening
to
in those walls.
Ireland.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Well, when it comes to the paranormal, is there anything else you guys would like to share? Because I'm curious and on what all you guys have been through, man. I know ghost hunting and stuff like that. You've got to have some crazy stuff, that's happened. Do you got any more stories you'd like to share or anything like that?
Man, we were at a courthouse that can't be named. They let us go in there and do an investigations, but they don't want no one to know that they let people do it.
Right.
And it's not too awful far from here, but we have a spirit portal, and we were getting things with that spirit portal.
Now, what is that?
So it takes an SB7 spirit box, right?
Okay.
So you know how it kind of
Yeah.
through channels really fast. What it does, it runs it through a pedal, like a guitar pedal,
Mm-hmm.
and it takes all the background noise out of it. So all the out of it.
Okay.
Then it runs it into an amplifier, and this amplifier has like a reverb kind of hall sound to it. So then when something talks, you could actually hear the voices
Oh, in like real time?
in real time.
Okay.
Real
That's
time,
cool.
real time.
Yeah.
And so we were there literally talking. We was downstairs in an area that they would hold prisoners before they would go out to the gallows, before they got hung.
Oh, wow.
And we were talking to a guy that was actually pretty famous around there. And his mom tried to slip him in some, wasn't it, morphine or something to kill himself before he got hung.
Oh, God.
And stuff. But we were getting like his name, and
We didn't know that none of this
stuff.
before we
None.
got this. We heard it on the spirit portal, and then they told us what had happened.
Yeah. So the officer that was there knows a lot of the history of the place. And so we started telling him what we was getting, and he was like, "Oh my goodness, well, so that's so and so," and told us his whole backstory, and it was like, man, that's amazing,
Well, see,
amazing.
when you get a piece of evidence like that, because there's no way you guys could have faked anything like that. You guys, it ain't like you're on the Travel Channel having a big show. You
Right.
guys are doing this because you genuinely want to know,
Yes.
what happens after we die, or do spirits exist and stuff like that. But when you get a piece of evidence like that in that circumstance, how can somebody deny that?
Yes. Yeah.
That's
And
just
then say
crazy.
that it doesn't exist.
Yeah,
Exactly.
they do though.
I know they do, and
He's-
it kills me, because if you get, it's like that EVP that I got, and like I said, it was 20 years ago, And
Yeah.
because everybody's always saying, "Oh, there was somebody hiding." There was nobody hiding in the bushes. There was no cameras. It was
They're
just
just
me.
waiting for you to come there that night, right?
Yeah,
I mean, come on now.
yeah. That's just I don't.
Uh,
I always ask somebody. I can't prove anything that you see on TV or whatever. That all may be
right,
fake, but I can promise you this one I've got's not fake.
right.
And I just, how can you deny that? And they just sit there and stare at you. Well, but that's just that always, makes me wonder how people can just deny stuff that much.
Have you ever been called devil worshippers? Devil
Not
worshipers?
not to my
Oh, good.
face
Oh
anyhow.
my
We
gosh.
have. We
Yeah,
have.
we've been called all that fun
We
stuff.
had a
Yeah.
show a few months back called The Bible Belt and
Oh,
Paranormal.
yeah.
So
Oh, really?
Yeah, because we could. I have to say it was because we was a little mad because we was going to get to go to a place here in Loudon and do a live investigation, kind of a place that we've heard about a lot about,
Right.
and then all of a sudden a bunch of people in the community go, "Oh God, no, this and that and all this other stuff," and so they shut us down before we got to. The owners
Really?
were like, "Nope, nope, nope, never mind."
Because they didn't want no negative press around their business, I
Yeah,
guess, or whatever it
yeah,
was.
yeah, yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah.
Um,
So I was like, ah,
yeah, that's
but
terrible.
just
Just because you're into I'm into the paranormal because I'm curious. I think
yes,
everybody wants to know what happens if you pass away or, and
right,
stuff like that. It ain't got nothing to do with worshiping the devil.
nope,
I believe
right.
in the devil. If you believe in God, you have to believe in the devil, but that doesn't mean I worship him or anything like that.
right, right,
I guess it's like
yeah,
you guys said, it's with, everything's about intentions.
yes,
And
exactly.
I thought of something else when you was telling me that story. I've had a lot of run-ins with Ouija boards. Do you think that's one of the reasons Ouija boards are so evil? Is the why do they work? Is it intentions? Is that why they work? I guess that's what I'm
It's
asking you.
intentions, and so when it comes to the paranormal, that is a very good tool, right? It's like any tool. If
Yeah,
you don't if you don't know how to use a gun properly and you go out hunting, you might hurt yourself.
right,
Same thing, right? If you don't know how to use a Ouija board properly, you don't know how to open it, you don't know how to close it properly, then bad things can happen because you could leave that portal open. But like with scrying, um, dowsing, and a lot of these other things, what you're doing is becoming the conduit. So you're opening yourself up and letting the spirit, we'll say, come through you to move your hands and to do whatever it's doing, right?
right.
And so I've, had some pretty good stuff happen with the Ouija board. When it happened, it was a little scary and I was done.
Yeah.
But but just because of what it told me,
Oh,
I went as soon as it was done telling me, I went and to see if it was lying, and I found exactly what it was telling me and where it was telling me it was, and I was like, "Okay, I'm done."
yeah, no
Yeah,
doubt.
it's not a
That's
game, it's real.
Yeah, that's insane that you say that. Um, I co-host another podcast where we talk about horror movies all the time. I guess you can tell by the
Okay.
background here. I mean,
Yes,
but
yes,
well, I grew up listening to Art Bell all the time. That's who got me.
Yes.
I've always wanted to do something like this. So that's where
yes.
this little show I'm trying to do here came from. And the first episode I done, I was interviewing a guy I work with and his wife. Well, during the interview, it comes out that she's a psychic medium, and she had never told anybody about that until that interview. Then she started, and during this interview, like everything on my end started to go haywire. Like I kept getting kicked out of the recording. My microphone quit working, kind of like it did when we first tried to do this.
Right.
All this electrical stuff just started happening. And she said, "Corky, I just want to stop the recording." She said, "I'm going to let you know, usually when this happens, somebody's wanting to talk to you. And that's kind of probably what's causing the interference and everything." And I stopped right then. I said, "Well, I don't want to know about it." I said, "If somebody want to talk to me, I don't want to know. And, you can go back and listen to that first episode and you
Yeah,
can hear all that stuff happen during that episode because I left it all in there. But,
that's amazing.
yeah, it's crazy. It scared me to death. I went up there
Yeah,
and I told my wife, I said, I don't know if I want to do a paranormal show or not because this just happened. And
I tell you what, we've had batteries drain. We were in a cemetery. Got out. I was filming. David was off doing something. I kept seeing these little orb lights on the camera, but when I'd look out, they wasn't there. About 10 minutes into it, my flashlight died, the camera died, and I hollered at David. I said, "David, I'm getting back in the truck," because it was pitch dark.
Yeah, you couldn't see your hand in front of your face.
It
I was like, "What? We just barely got here. We've
Yeah.
only been here like 10 minutes." I'm like way off somewhere.
yeah,
they get their energy from
Oh, yeah.
our electronics and stuff like that, I believe.
Yeah. And you got to set boundaries to where they don't try to get energy from you, because if
Yeah.
you do not set those boundaries, they will try to draw energy from you. And I've had it happen.
so and when we're wanting to set those boundaries, how do we do that?
You do that before you even start. And that's something that you do with yourself. And usually I'll do it with sage or something.
Okay.
And I will set those boundaries and say that, my energy is off limits.
Right.
And sometimes you'll hear Jason say, "Oh, you could use my energy."
Yeah, on
Crazy.
what
Crazy.
I
But
wanted to experience it.
yeah.
So,
Yeah. So out of the
Um,
two of you, Jason is the more skeptic, right?
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's the more down to earth one for
I
sure.
believe, but I'm more I gotta see it.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Out
Yeah.
of the
I'm
out
not
of the
afraid
two
of
of you,
death anymore.
right?
I
Out of the two of you, who's the first one that's going to be like, "Nope, I'm out"?
Oh, it's me.
Jason.
It's Jason.
Jason.
Yeah,
Just like
that's
when
all.
we was out there and that thing started throwing rocks at me, I said,
He
"Nope."
was like, "Nope, I'm done." It's in the
Uh,
recording and everything. He's like, "Nope, I'm done. I'm ready to go." I'm like,
Well,
"Jason, no."
well, it's all
I'm
fun
not
and games
scared.
when somebody takes a rock in the head. Then that's a different story,
They were throwing them at Jason, so I was like, whatever. No.
Yeah, as long as you don't aim one my way, we'll be all right.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh man,
That's funny. But yeah. No, I mean, you want to talk about corroborating evidence. So we was filming this old farmhouse
Oh, yeah.
as part of Jason's wife's family's old farmhouse. It doesn't have electricity or anything hooked up to this place. And when we were outside, we were setting up the equipment, and the equipment was just already going off, just going crazy
wow,
outside. And this night, Eddie and Susan from Legends of the Lord Pizzeria was with us, and it's actually on our YouTube. It's called "A Haunting in Philly."
Yeah.
But when we get in there, what's funny is that Eddie at the time had his SLS camera. This was before we built ours, and I had a dead bell sitting there. And you know what a dead bell is?
no sir, fill me in.
So, like when you go to, say, rent a room or something, and you have that bell that you ting, ding, ding,
Yeah,
ding. So that's pretty much what it is. But it's set up to where a ghost could, either ring it, or
Right.
it's set up to where they can manipulate it to ring.
Okay,
Well, this thing starts ringing, and Eddie and Susan has had this thing for about a year or so at the time, they said.
Yeah.
Never once heard this thing ring. And so it started answering 1 ring for yes, 2 rings for no. And so we're
really?
asking all these questions. Eddie points the SLS camera towards this thing, and all of a sudden we ask a question, and you see a stick figure pop up, reach its hand out, and then the bell ring.
Wow, are you
Yeah, and it's
serious?
like, that's corroborating evidence right there. I mean, you
There
can't
is
get
no
any
doubt
better than
about
that.
it. Wow,
Yeah,
that is crazy,
yeah,
This is the
man.
same place I seen my first apparition.
yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
They were screaming, yelling.
I screamed. I said, "Oh my God."
What did it
Everybody
look
was
like?
a human. I mean, came up in a doorway. I was using the FLIR
Clear.
camera,
Right.
and I was just filming the doorway, and all of a sudden this thing come up, and I was telling everybody, "Look at my camera, look at my camera," and they was all looking at it. Then it just went and turned around and walked away, and everybody started screaming, especially me. You could hear me the most.
Yeah.
So like more than
And
one person seen it, not just you then,
oh
right?
yeah,
Yeah, it
Golly.
was Jason, Jason's wife, and,
Susan.
Susan. Yep, all 3 of them were standing there.
Golly.
Yep,
And this took
yep,
place in Loudon somewhere? Wow.
Yeah, it's
yep,
on my wife's family's property. The story behind the house is
Mhm.
when she was young, and this is in our book.
yeah,
When she was young, uh, probably preteens, maybe her and her brother was out in the yard in front of the house playing, and she looked up, and there was a horse and buggy coming down the road. And when it got to her, there was a woman and a child that was following behind it and dressed in old timey clothes. And the guy was in old timey outfit and he had a top hat. And when he passed her, he tipped his hat and went on down the road and disappeared into the woods. Come to find out that road used to be the old Sweetwater Road that went to Sweetwater.
Really?
Yeah, and about 2 years or a year later, she went to Florida to visit family, and they were looking at pictures, and they pulled up this picture of her great-great-grandfather, and she told them that was the man that she seen.
Wow. That is
Yeah,
crazy, man. See, there again, that's
yeah.
one of those situations that I ask, how can you deny it when because, coincidences, I don't really believe in coincidences. So,
Nah, nah.
that's irrefutable evidence if you ask me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um, guys, I won't keep you guys all night, but one thing I do want to do while I've got you on here, I got an email from a lady a couple weeks ago. And since I've got 2 real paranormal investigators on here, I'm going to read this email to you guys, and you just let me know kind of what you think. Does that sound cool?
yep,
Um,
absolutely.
she says, "Hi, my name is Anastasia, and this is what happened to me a couple months ago." She said, "I was sitting in my room one night because of certain strange things happening because I was scared. I used to sleep in my mom's room. My room was on the second floor, and my mom was downstairs in the living room watching TV. At one point, I went downstairs and asked her, 'When are you going to go to bed?' And she says, 'As soon as this show ends, I'll come up.' It's almost over. So when I went back to my room about a half an hour later, I went downstairs and asked, 'Are you coming up now?' She didn't look at me. She just said, 'I'll be there soon. Go to bed.' And she kept watching TV. Now, I'm absolutely sure I saw her and even talked to her because she answered me. But when I went back upstairs, my mom was already in bed, half asleep, half awake. And I asked my mom, 'Weren't you just downstairs?' And she mumbled, 'I have to work tomorrow. Go to sleep.' So what do you guys think about that?"
That's amazing.
yeah,
Um, you know, doppelgangers are that's a possible thing, or something that comes in that kind of mimics people.
Yeah, I was leaning toward mimic myself. I wanted to get you guys' take on that,
Yep,
what you guys
yep,
thought about that.
I think you're absolutely right.
You
yeah.
guys ever encountered
So,
anything like that in your experiences or anything like that?
I have not. None.
Not that we know of. I mean, we've got voices that we think is the person we're talking to, but you never know. It could be something else.
Yeah, I mean, we did an investigation for a lady that, was having troubles at her house, and, we went there, we did an investigation. Our equipment just started dying quickly. The camera that we had, we changed was it the camera? Yeah,
Camera.
camera. We changed batteries twice. The second time we changed the batteries, the battery didn't even last 10 minutes and it was dead.
Wow.
One of our, digital voice recorders went dead in, like, 15 minutes, and so the SLS camera, I caught some pretty crazy stuff with the SLS in the house.
And the EMF at the same point.
Yeah, in the same place, the EMF was going off, and so we decided to break out the portal again, and so we break out the portal, and we start talking, and all of a sudden, a man's voice starts coming through. And if you know how how it works, that you should never get one voice saying multiple things, because all it's doing is scanning radio stations. It's
Right.
and you might get a, or
Yeah.
something, but that's it. But we got a man's voice that came through, and she started crying. She says, "That's my husband." And I don't know
Wow.
exactly how long he had been passed,
About a year.
about a year, that he
Wow.
had passed, but she started just bawling. And she says, "That's my husband," said his name and said, "I love you." And then you hear him say back to her, "I love you too."
Man.
All in this same voice. The voice never changes the whole time. And so Jason at one point goes, "Is that his voice?" And she says, "Yes, that is my husband." And they literally had almost a 10-minute conversation between the two through the
God,
portal.
really?
Yeah. Yes, it was the first time we've ever used a portal and had anything like that happen. You know, it's I mean, when you're using a voice box or anything like that, normally you'll get a word or two in response to something that you say.
Yeah.
But to actually have conversation going back and forth, it's just, I don't know. It was amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
It was
unheard
amazing.
of. That would be
Yeah.
all. I bet you that was real comforting for her, to be able to. Who
She
wouldn't want to talk to a loved one more time?
That's right, and she was thanking us, and then as we were packing up trying to leave, she was trying to pay us and was like, "No, we
Yeah.
don't do this for the money,"
Right. Right.
and so, but, this lady does a lot for has done a lot for us.
Mhm.
She owns a business there in Pigeon Forge area. She has a lot of our books in her store, and so she sells our books and stuff, so but it we would do it for anybody, you know what
Right.
I mean? Like, there's no quid pro quo or anything required. It's just
Yeah, we don't charge
yeah,
nothing.
well,
Well,
no
that's
one
that.
should.
That's awesome, you guys, man. It's good to have good people like you out there, man, for when people need help like that, because it's kind of a situation, but it's kind of cliche, but who do you call when you've got a problem like that?
That's right. Yeah,
Ghostbusters don't
yeah.
really exist, man, but it's good that you guys are out there helping people like that, man. That's awesome.
Well, what if we showed up with plasma guns and backpacks?
Proton
Yeah,
proton
proton
packs and
blasters.
stuff,
Yeah,
yeah.
Hey,
that'd be
I'd be all
funny.
about that, man. That'd be great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd
that'd
be
be
fun,
awesome.
wouldn't it?
Hey, why don't you
Hey,
tell everybody where they can find you guys at? Tell us a little bit about your books. Anything you want to say, man. The floor is yours right now.
Well, you can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter,
X, Rumble,
Instagram. Yeah, X, not Twitter.
yeah.
Rumble. You can also go to our web page at paranormal411.org. Um, I'll let David tell you about the books.
So we've got 3 books. The one that's been out the longest is East Tennessee Hauntings and Lore. It's edition 2. Um, I've got it right here, I think. Yeah, I do. This. Uh, this is book 1, East Tennessee Hauntings and Lore edition 2.
Cool.
And it's just a lot of legends and lore and stuff from here in East Tennessee. So there's Bigfoot encounters and paranormal encounters and UFO encounters in here. So it's all from this area. That's our oldest book. The 2 that just came out, our 2 newest ones, is A Comprehensive Guide to Paranormal Investigations. If you want to be a paranormal investigator, this is a everything you need to know book. No, nothing held back. Nothing waiting for a book 2. This book will completely let you understand from A to Z. And what we mean is that even from the stuff that's, make sure you have permission before you go into places, um, because you shouldn't just be breaking and entering to go
Yeah,
into places.
ethics
There's
of
a
the
lot of
investigation.
ethics and stuff like that
Right.
that's
Yeah. You
in
might
it.
catch something
So
beside a ghost.
here in the South, you definitely may.
You
You
definitely
may
would.
leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, you may leave with lead disease or something,
Yeah.
lead poisoning. And then our last one is it's the Haunted Ledger. Now this is meant to kind of be a companion to that book. Because what this is we're a firm believer that when you go in to do a investigation, one of the best tools that you have is yourself. It's built into every one of us. That time that you get that hair stands up on your arm or on the back of your neck or any of that, your body's telling you something. So write it down. And that's what this does. It gives you forms to where you could write stuff down and keep notes, because when you're going back through your evidence and you see, hey, at 2 o'clock, I caught this, but then I wrote down that at 2 o'clock, I felt this going on. See what I'm saying? So you could kind of get some corroborating evidence between the two.
Yeah, that's neat. That's neat. I never thought about
Yeah.
having anything like that. That's cool, guys. Where can you get those books at?
They're all on Amazon, or you
Okay.
could go to our website, paranormal411.org, and click the button and it'll take you straight to it.
Okay. If you
Or
went
if
to
you catch us at
if you went to Amazon, would you just search Paranormal 411, or do you have to know the name of the books? Or
No, you could just put in, I think you can put in Jason Scott or David Reagan or
okay,
Paranormal
or
411.
Paranormal 411 or the
okay,
name of the books.
okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
awesome, guys. Hey, I
Yep.
really appreciate you guys stopping by and just chatting with me for a little bit tonight, man. I don't want to keep you guys all night, but I've really enjoyed it, and maybe one of these days I can go on a hunt with you, man, and just sit back and
Oh,
watch
yeah.
you guys work. I don't want to get too involved, but I'd like to watch you guys do
Anytime.
it one time.
Yeah, anytime.
Anytime, you
Yeah,
just
yeah.
let us know.
Just let us know, and we've always got something usually in the works. So
All right, that sounds awesome. All right, I appreciate you guys, and having said that, man, we'll get on out of here. I'll see you guys next time. See you. Bye.
The unknown awakens, hear the echoes grow loud. We're diving deep, join the curious crowd. In the paranormal war room, we take flight, bringing the spooky vibes, shadows and light. With every beat, the legends we explore, unleashing the spirits. We're ready for more. Aliens striking down like thunder from the skies. Cryptids lurking near, in the darkness they rise. Paranormal tales that will twist your mind. Tune into the mystery, leave the norm behind. In the war room we fight, with the strange insight, unveiling truths in the paranormal war room. We take flight, bringing the spooky vibes, shadows and light. With every beat, the legends we explore, unleashing the spirits. We're ready for more. So hit that subscribe, don't be left in the dark. Join us in the war, let's make our